530.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Tonight, we know the name of the man police need help finding in a Knox County robbery and murder. This all happened early yesterday morning at the A&B Quick Stop. Now, here is the man police need help finding. His name is Philip Lee Lewis III. State police say he has ties to both Mississippi and Michigan. Now, this is video of him just before that shooting on Wednesday. Troopers say he killed Gary Medlin, who you see there, a father who police say tried to run out of the store but was gunned down. Ahead at 6, we have new information on the investigation, and you will also hear from members of Medlin's family. That's coming up a little later at 6. Now to a developing story out of western Kentucky. 3 people are dead and another hurt in Davis County. Our sister station WFIE reports the shooting happened at a home on Audubon Avenue in Owensboro. Police say they found 2 people dead in a home. A man and woman were also taken to the hospital. That's where the 3rd victim died. Several schools went on lockdown. Those have since been lifted. Police have not said yet if they have a suspect. Now to a scary story out of Laurel County. Investigators are looking for answers after they were notified that there were 4 homemade bombs inside a home. Local and federal agents were called to that home to investigate. People inside the home claim they were not bombs. Matthew Rand has more.
Laurel County authorities say the 4 devices they found in a basement were liquid in nature and had the potential to do some serious damage.
Had one of them or all 4 of them discharged, we could have had officers hurt or killed very easily in a situation like this.
We spoke to a woman who lives at the home in the Sublimity Springs subdivision where the devices were found, and she says police have it all wrong. She says the devices belong to her daughter's ex, whom they kicked out of the house because of his drug use, saying he'd had a beef with some people in Jackson County.
He was in the basement ranting and raving, and my daughter went down there to see what he was doing, and he was mixing used motor oil, pouring used motor oil in pop bottles. And she asked him what he was doing, and he said he was going to go burn the people's houses that had angered him.
She says the wires you can see in this picture coming from the bottles weren't there, not until police showed up.
That was all placed to make it look bad, and there was not bombs, it was used motor oil.
Whatever it was, deputies notified Kentucky State Police, who sent their hazardous materials unit to neutralize the devices. Despite the potential hazard, deputies don't believe anyone else was in danger.
We think that the devices were set up particularly just for their residents for some specific reason at their residence. We don't think there other people or other individuals in that area are any danger at all.
No arrests so far in what deputies say is an ongoing investigation. Matthew Rand, WYMT Mountain News.
Police say they also called the ATF to assist in defusing the bombs. A Cynthiana teacher faces charges after police say she had an inappropriate relationship with a former student. State troopers arrested 37-year-old Amanda Phillips yesterday afternoon. She's charged with first-degree sexual abuse. Phillips works as a special needs teacher, and the victim was a prior student over the age of 12 at the time of the relationship. The Harrison County School District says Phillips no longer works there.
Cloud cover, rain chances, and a little bit of snow as well in those higher elevations today. Let's take a look at satellite radar. You can see over the past hour really where that rain has been moving off. Earlier today, some deep shades of blue, and in fact that's bringing down what we talked about with that light dusting to ½ an inch in Harlan, Bell, even portions of Letcher County. Now more showers working in from the west, and we will continue to watch temperatures tonight, which should remain generally above freezing. If anything, it will be southeastern Kentucky once again that could see a few flurries and flakes for tonight. For tonight, 36 degrees an average low temperature with a 50% chance of scattered rain and snow showers. We'll look at your Twitter topics, and the headline's pretty simple. We're all focused on this weekend system. We get a break after the morning rain for your Friday, but it's the heavy rain that works in Saturday, 1 to 2 inches expected, and that then light snow Sunday. Both nights, Steve, will feature some slick spots. We'll tell you why that's the case coming up in a few short minutes.
All right, Andrew, thank you. In the 2018 election, Letcher County saw lots of changes. They have a new jailer, a new sheriff, and a new judge executive. Terry Adams, a magistrate, unseated Jim Ward and is now in the county's highest elected position. He talked to WYMT's Will Puckett about his plans for the county.
He ran thinking he could improve Letcher County.
We've got a ongoing FEMA project that is in the value of $1.9 million that the paperwork's not been finished on, and we're trying to get that lined out.
The FEMA project is big, but there is another one he is working to address.
It will bring an influx of new people to our county and other counties also.
The project the judge is talking about is a new federal prison, which could be a key economic driver for the county.
And it will put money back into our local businesses.
Another job Judge Adams wants to undertake deals with the recreation center.
We're trying to get the building in good shape.
Some worried he may do away with the building if elected, and while he says that is simply not the case, he does not deny he has some problems with it.
Had issues with the loan and the payments on it. It's a very expensive building to upkeep, and just the loan itself.
Again, Adams says he simply just wants to make the county better. Will Puckett, WYMT, Mountain News.
Judge Executive Adams is looking into a possible recycling project that could save significant money in the county's sanitation department. A Kentucky dorm closed because of mold will not open again until the fall. Minton Hall at Western Kentucky University closed in November when the mold was discovered. The university says an inspection found more work is necessary. The additional work includes replacement of porous tiles and possible replacement of windows to help in the future. A man charged along with 3 others in the massacre of an Ohio family headed back to court today. George Billy Wagner was arrested outside a Lexington Equine Hospital in November. His wife and 2 sons were also taken into custody and charged with the murders of 8 members of the Roden family. Today we learned prosecutors turned over 30 gigabytes of material to the defense in the case. Wagner is being held without bond. President Trump spoke at the Pentagon today, one day after the deadly attack targeting Americans in Syria. 2 soldiers, 2 civilians, and at least a dozen Syrians were killed in a suicide blast. CBS's Mola Lenghi has the latest from the White House.
President Trump praised the 4 Americans killed in a suicide bombing in the northern Syrian city of Manbij during a speech at the Pentagon.
These are great people, great people. We will never forget their noble and immortal sacrifice.
ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack outside a restaurant where Americans patrolling the city had stopped to eat.
Our hearts and our prayers are with the families.
Despite the casualties, the Trump administration is standing firm on its plan to withdraw 2,000 troops from Syria.
As we begin to bring our troops home, we will do so in a way that ensures that the remnants of ISIS will never be able to reestablish their evil and murderous caliphate.
The Trump administration has said ISIS has been defeated in Syria, even repeating the claim hours after the attack. But some lawmakers here in Washington disagree.
This horrific attack is a stark reminder of the reality of the security threats that we still face around the world.
At the Pentagon, the president outlined new initiatives in missile defense, including plans to protect the nation against ballistic missiles.
We have some very bad players out there, and we're a good player, but we can be far worse than anybody.
Mr. Trump did not provide more details on the troop drawdown in Syria, but said his first duty is the defense of the United States. Mola Lenghi, CBS News, the White House.
The attack in Syria was the single worst loss of American life since U.S. troops went into Syria more than 3 years ago. Senate Republicans are on their retreat to set their agenda for 2019. They made the short trip from the Capitol to the Washington Nationals ballpark at 9 o'clock this morning. Organizers say they discussed the shutdown and path forward, but focus more on the issues they'll tackle after the historic feud is resolved. That includes fixing roads and bridges, tackling the opioid crisis, and rolling back regulations.
I think that we become consistent in our viewpoint and vocal in our viewpoint that government shouldn't spend money we don't have. And really, frankly, Republicans haven't done as good a job as I would have liked to have seen. The deficit is now about $800 billion this year, and that was with Republicans in charge of all three branches.
Now, we've also made multiple interview requests to Senator Mitch McConnell, but so far he has not made time to talk to our Washington, D.C. bureau about the retreat and Republican agenda. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, are you ready for some spring weather? We'll tell you about an event that might have you itching to get out the rod and reel. And in your Money Watch report, another automaker is cutting jobs in the U.S. We'll tell you why Nissan made that decision.